And Robert Earl Dean, we have a really good interview for our listeners today. Robert Earl, who do we have with us today?
Ladies and gentlemen, there are artists that we have on this show, and they're wonderful artists, but there are some that become like your family. And this gentleman is that we communicate outside of the radio show. And I've been a fan of his for years. And this guy is a singer. He's a writer's writer. This gentleman, you know you bad when you can have a solo career, be in a group, and they both are doing well when it comes to ministry worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, part of commission, a solo artist, a writer, a producer, Mr. Marcus Cole. Welcome back to the Wake Up Morning Show, brother.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Man, we blessed to have you.
Fantastic, man. It's good to be here again.
Yes.
Well, brother, it's good to have you here again. I've noticed that the beard is still perfect, and
Come on, man. Come on.
Yes.
whoever is your dietitian that gets your gray streaks just right.
Right.
We gonna
Yeah.
shout them out for that. How you doing this morning?
I'm great, man. Dr. LT, I'm fantastic. Robert Earl, let me say this. Let me start off saying this. We talked a little early today, and I had to go through my emails to look for something, and I recognized that the first Zoom link you sent me was in 2020,
Wow.
5 years ago. I did not have anything new out 5 years ago, and you sought me out. We spoke, we chopped it up, and we have been in contact ever since. I appreciate you and Dr. LT. I appreciate y'all big time because that to me is that goes much further than someone who's number one on the charts. That becomes obvious. But
Hmm.
when you got people like yourselves who support someone like me, even in my so-called downtime, that goes a very long way, brother. And I appreciate that like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, but you ain't in no downtime. You've been on tour. I saw you
Yeah.
on that Kirk Franklin tour.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So we came to the area, right?
Yes, you came to L.A. because
Yeah.
San Diego didn't
Okay.
do what they were
Right.
supposed to do. But
Right. Right.
I saw you on tour, and you've been doing stuff with the group. I
Yeah.
mean, there ain't no downtime, bro. And you're
Yeah.
producing.
I'm producing like crazy and writing like crazy. Yeah, man. Got to.
So I just want to tap back in with you, just to get an update on family,
Hmm.
friends. Did you buy? But did you buy the new house? Did we finally get a Toyota Corolla? How we doing, man? How we doing?
Yeah, no. We still rocking at the. No, I think we moved since then, and
Uh,
yeah, we do have a new house, another house. Let's put it that way. The kids are fantastic. They are. My youngest is still at home. My son is just, tried the life in New York, so he's doing that. My daughter's in New Orleans, and I'm sorry, Louisiana. And no, we're doing good. Me and the wife, we still in love. You dig? And so, 30 years, man. We
wow.
celebrated 30 years this year or
Mhm.
last year.
Right.
30 years in December.
Yeah.
So that's. I'm
That's
still
a
patting myself on
testimony.
the back for that because 30 years is not a joke.
That's a
Yeah,
testimony.
Yes.
next year in January, I'll hit my 30-year mark with my wife.
Oh,
Let's just talk
congratulations.
about being in the
Hmm.
industry, and it's almost like you've been in the industry the entire time you've been married. Plus, so
That's
how
correct.
did you balance off again a healthy relationship with your wife,
Yeah.
children, and everything else? How did you balance it off while you were touring the world?
Yeah, there were a lot of years where it was imbalanced because trying to become the best
Hmm.
at your craft, not better than anyone else,
Hmm.
but trying to become the best at your craft requires a lot of selfish time. Now,
Yep.
hear what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, I don't know any artist worth his or her salt who is notable, who is well known, who hasn't had those times in their marriage as a father or a mother who did not have to pull away to create, to really dig into their art so that they can present something. And so, Doc, the overall picture looks like balance.
Hmm.
But when you're involved in it, it looks very imbalanced.
Hmm.
The wife has to understand it. The children at some point have to understand it, but more importantly, the artist has to understand it. That you sometimes you got to come out of that studio, sit with the family, go see a movie, go get dinner, or whatever the case is, because anyone who creates knows that you can go into the studio and easily 6 hours is just gone.
Yeah.
Just easily 6 hours. I mean, for producers and programmers, we take about 2 hours just to find sounds,
Yeah.
the proper sounds, and to be interrupted like, Dad, can you take me to the, or "Honey, can you?" It's like, yo, it's like, don't bother me right now. So
Right.
the life of a singer, songwriter, producer, whatever you want to say, it really is interesting, and you have to learn how to find balance early on. So my wife and I, we, when I met her, she understood that I was in music, but obviously my workload intensified as the longer we were married and whatnot. And so I had to learn the balance. She had to learn to understand what it is to create, to strike that balance. And, 30 years later, we must have done something right because we're not just together. Like
Right.
we're madly in love with each other. And there is no out. You see what I'm saying? So I just think for those who are in it now or young, learn how to strike that balance, come out of that studio. This is what I do now. I for some reason, since my hospital stay, because they threw everything off. This is about 3 years ago. They threw everything off of me. I get up about 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. Period. My body clock just gets me up. Um, and what I decided was, instead of just getting up, just kind of lounging around, I would start going to the gym. I would come back, and then I would work, and I will work till right up about 5 or 6, and I'm done. And then I'll go and make dinner, sit with the wife, and the whole thing. Now, in between that time, I might take a break, but that's my schedule. Just like if I were to work a 9 to 5. Like if I were working at UPS, you couldn't come bother me at UPS in that time frame, right?
Correct.
So same thing happens with this. So that's what I decided to do. Like this is what I map out for myself to work between those hours, and that's not every day,
Right.
right? That's just some of the days, but that's not every day.
Right.
But when I do work, that's how I map it out for myself, so that I know that in the evening I'm giving that time for dinner, TV, and just family time.
So let me ask you this question because we are partners with Elevate Magazine, and this coming issue is going to be tough on family. In the sense of really talking about family and family dynamics. What are your love languages, and what are the love languages of your wife? And do
Yeah.
they coincide?
So so for my wife, it's just affection. It's sitting next to each other on the couch. You know what I mean? It's we hold hands when we're laying in the bed. Like we watching TV, we hold hands laying in bed. Some people might be like, "That's crazy." Whatever works for you, or whatever
That's
don't work
right.
for you, that's you.
That's
But
right.
for us, it's affection. It's
Right.
just the touching. It's the just the physical touch of knowing. You know what I'm saying, that I'm into you. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what her love language is. We've discussed this. Um, and for me, it's probably similar. It's it's you know what it is for me. It's being aware of what I do. It's just be aware of what it is I do. Take it into consideration what I do. Like there's a lot of times I'll do a new song. I'll come up and I'll say, "Hey, I want you to listen to this song," and she'll listen to it. And you gotta remember now, this is 30 years of listening to my songs.
Right.
30 years of listening to my songs. And she's like, "Oh, that's good." I'm like, "Babe, give me something else." Like, "Oh, but they're all good. They're all good." It's like, it's for me, it's who played that? What is that sound? What, you know what I mean? What is that line? For me, it's the detail of get into the song of what I just created and ask me those questions, because I'm an intellectual as well. So I want to have a conversation about my creation and what I've done. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So we, and listen, after 30 years, we're still figuring each other out, because we as human beings, as individuals, and that's one of the things I told my wife early on, was that I want us, even though we're one, I get the symbolism of in scripture, I want us to have individuality,
Mhm.
um, to where I'm always still concerned about her, and she's always still concerned about me. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want that to be central in our marriage. So we're still learning each other. We're still learning how to talk to each other. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I don't know if in 50 years, you know, what I mean, 50 years in rather, we can finish each other's sentences. I don't know, but right now, it's just it's just paying attention to each other and making sure that we communicate the right way. I represent her when I go out. She does the same thing for me when she goes out, and that's real important.
So, as you look at your relationship now, what is the one thing that your wife can do that no matter what you doing could stop you in your tracks and say, "Okay, I gotta go see her."
Yeah, man. What is the one thing? Uh, wow.
Well,
Trying
I'm
to.
gonna give you mine because I grew
Yeah,
up in the church.
yeah,
It's the look. If my wife give me a certain look, I will know if she happy or if she upset.
yeah,
And sometimes I might make the mistake of what did I do? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But the look
yeah,
get me every time.
yeah. For me, it's and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, like she has to cry, but her tears stops me in my tracks
Mm-hmm.
because I know that it's something. Because first of all, my wife cries at everything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she's I joke about how she's just a bag of tears,
Mm-hmm.
and just she just cries about everything. But um, I I guess what I'm saying is that I know to pay special attention if I see her becoming emotional about a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Then that would definitely stop me in my tracks, to really just stop everything I'm doing and not be selfish and go, wait, this is not about me. Let me pay attention to what she's not saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, Robert, I want to ask this last
Okay.
question. And I'm asking this because your music is so overly important in this
Mm.
season. But as a man, as a father, as a husband, what message would you share to other young men or men coming up, especially in the industry with all the
Oh, it's a
distractions,
lot.
on how they can still uh, be strong and be committed in this time of the season?
Um,
And I'm gonna say, and
industry.
how can you still be a man
Yeah,
in an industry where it's not always celebrated?
absolutely. Industry and ministry mean nothing compared to your marriage.
Wow. Three M's.
Industry and ministry
Mm-hmm.
mean nothing compared to your marriage. My wife didn't get with me or love me because I was a celebrity or I was celebrated, and I put it that way, in music.
Mm-hmm.
We've had tough times, and I've seen my wife love me unconditionally in those tough times. None of that matters when it comes to your marriage. I tell people, I share this often, that there was a period years ago that I almost ruined my marriage.
Wow.
That I almost ruined my marriage, being on the road and not being responsible. And I nearly just devastated my marriage. And I watched my wife show me God. And when I saw that, I made a vow to myself
Mm-hmm.
and to the Most High
Yes.
that that would never be an issue again. It's not until I make that vow to myself and to the Most High that I can make it to her.
Right.
Because if I make the vow to her, but I have not made that vow to myself or the Most High, then I've just lied to her.
Wow.
But I have to make the vow to myself and to the Most High. Father, help me, keep me, put me, give me a way of escape because we are men. We are men.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, you know, we see certain things and we desire certain things. And it's not until you get to the point to where you start to do your own work, do the work within yourself, and then she won't ever have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Frank Cole, that's my dad, he raised the man. I saw my dad get up every day. I saw my mom iron his uniform, make his lunch, and he goes to work at the foundry.
Wow.
He comes back in the evening with a bit of his lunch left over. I run and jump in his arms. He gives me his lunch. Now, Frank Cole wasn't perfect, still alive, thank God. Frank Cole wasn't perfect as a father, but I saw my father when he and my mom separated in 78. I saw my father say, "That's enough." We moved to upstate New York. He rented a U-Haul, drove up from Michigan, Saginaw, Michigan, to Utica, New York, packed up his family and said, "Enough is enough. Y'all coming back home." And from 79, 80, we had been together ever since.
Wow.
This very imperfect man who struggled with alcoholism, who grew up in the deep South,
Mhm.
you understand, who moved to Michigan when GM was hiring, who did not have, he or her had the tools
Mhm.
to really work through the things that Black families would have to endure in that time.
Yes.
I saw my father be a man and just say, "No, as imperfect as I am, this one thing I'm going to do." Because me and my older brother, we were going wild. We were stealing. We were doing crazy stuff, and we needed him at that time. And sure enough, he came and got us, moved us, and we had been together. And I like to say that everything was perfect from that point. No, it wasn't perfect, but that act has indelibly been stamped in my mind and my heart to see how a man moves.
Right.
As imperfect as he is, I see how a man moves. Being a man takes the effort every day
Hmm.
of making that conscious decision to. I remember one Thanksgiving, I think it was. I'm not sure. It was some years ago. I had me and the wife were talking at dinner at the table. Kids were sitting around the table, and I raised my voice. I got upset about something, and I sat there and I realized that I had an audience of impressionable kids, and I sat there and I choked back some tears and I said, "Hey, I want to apologize to y'all for raising my voice in front of y'all to your mother. I shouldn't have did that." Um, I think as a man, if you can catch yourself
Hmm.
and if you can correct yourself in front of your
Wow.
kids, no matter how imperfect you are, they see the correction.
Hmm.
They see that you are conscious of yourself and that you took the effort to get that right in front of them instead of just saying that's the way it is because I'm the daddy.
Right.
So it takes a conscious effort every day. And the scripture talks about dying to yourself. That's You got to die to yourself
That's
every day when
real.
it comes to that.
That's
You
real.
got to die. You got to die to that ego. Kill
Hmm.
that ego every day. When
Flesh.
she's right, she's right. No matter how much you want to be like, no, no, nope. When she's right, she's right.
Hmm.
And you got to learn how to and practice. Know how to say normalize stopping. Take a deep breath and go, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, my question to you: you have a very distinguished voice, and
Hmm.
I grew up hating the rasp in my voice. I grew up hating it, but it was something that later would be my signature, and people know
Absolutely.
me even from my talking. People were like, "I knew
You're
that was you."
right.
How did you embrace this sound you have? Because that's what drew me to you. When
Yeah.
I first heard you, your sound and your diction and stuff. How did you make that the Marcus Cole brand?
Yeah, that's so interesting, man, because there's a part two to that, and I'll explain that. Um, so I don't know where the rasp initially came from. I can only surmise that it was. I grew up in the Church of God in Christ,
We did
and
too.
it was a lot of hard singing. So right about so if you listen to any recordings of me circa 1998,
Hmm.
you'll hear very clear, smooth, even falsetto. Like because I was heavily influenced by the Winans Commission, rants. I mean, I couldn't quite do the rant stuff, but when Commission came along, I was 13, 14, so I was like, oh, this is it for me.
Right.
So I'm doing the Mitchell falsetto,
Yes.
and I'm doing the heavy notes that Fred did. I'm doing the that Keith was doing. I'm doing it all right. So it was pretty clear. until I joined commission. I happened to also join this. I was a minister of music at a Kojic church in Ypsilanti, and I joined commission at the exact same time. So now I'm singing Marvin's high parts. I'm singing my throat out on Sundays.
Wow.
And so now I'm really having an issue with my voice. I tell people all the time, my voice was shot on the Time and Seasons album. Commission's Time and Seasons album, my voice was shot. So what you hear is like, oh, I like that rasp. No, bro, I was hoarse every time we recorded. And I hate I didn't have the access to like the tone that I really wanted, but I mean, it did what it did. So what I did, I learned how to embrace it and I learned how to work it. Um, I had deceptive range, where it's like you didn't believe that I could get that high, but
Yep.
I did. But I learned how to kind of work that range and whatnot, and I made it a part of. And then when I heard Kim, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in a very distinctive club, right? Because it's
Yes.
like it's the rasp club that we do what we do. So she heavily influenced me. When she come out, I remember studying her when I first heard Kim Burrell in '92.
Yep.
Try Me. No, actually, it was she sang with this choir first. It was the song that she did with
Trinity
this choir.
Gospel, Trinity
Absolutely,
Temple.
yes. And I remember being so intimidated that I didn't sing along with her. When I would hear her in the car, I wouldn't sing along with her because I was so intimidated. I didn't know what she was doing. I I couldn't figure out
That's true.
why was she so different than any. Because you grew up listening to all of the Clarks.
High voices.
Yeah, and you go, okay, I get her, and you hear Lynette Hawkins, and you hear, certain ones, and you go, okay, I get them. But when I heard Kim, I didn't understand her. I didn't understand what she was doing. And then I studied her, and this is how I do. I'll study someone for 3 to 6 months unintentionally. I don't know I'm studying them, but I'll listen. I did it with Donny Hathaway. I did it with Sam Cooke, and I just sit and listen. And then one day I heard in her rasp and what she was doing, I understood that she was running her words, where most people would sing a word and then run. She would run, oh Lord, you've been so good to me.
Hmm.
She would I would go, oh, she's running the
She would
words.
stretch it.
She would stretch the words, just like Donnie would exhaust his words. So Donnie would go, giving up is hard to do. And he would put it up in his nostril. When you really love someone. And he would exhaust it here. And you would feel it in your soul like, whoa. So
Oh.
when I started studying her, I was like, so she kind of gave me identity with the rasp, right?
Hmm.
That I had. So, but when I started singing with commission and being at that church, I was really ruining my voice, if you could believe it. But I think I was singing improperly. So fast forward. Here's an interesting thing. Um, I'm not sure if we talked about this, but I was in a coma for about 5 weeks 3 years ago. Had COVID really bad, and I was in the hospital for 3 months. They gave me a tracheotomy, and um, initially when they called my wife, they were like, "We have to give him a tracheotomy because da da da." And she was like, "Well, I don't know about that. He's a singer,
Right.
he's a public speaker," and so she called my good friend Christian Dentley from Take Six, and she was like talking to him. He talked to his wife, who's in the medical field, and he called her back and was like, let him go ahead and do it. Because I think one of the other guys in Take Six had a tracheotomy as well, and he had to work to get his voice back to where it was. And so
Hmm.
he said, just let her do it, sis. And so they did it, and so I had to have some rehab. And strangely enough, Robert, the tracheotomy cleared up my pipes. Like it took the rasp away. So I'm not as raspy as I used to be. It's crazy. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like I've sang for 30 years or so with the rasp and
Hmm.
learned how to manipulate it. And when that happened, it was like the rasp went away. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. So, listen, thankfully, I still have the ability to sing, and I know the voice is a muscle. It is an instrument, and you can really kind of make it what you want it to be if you know what you're doing
Hmm.
and everything. But yeah, no, I think it's a great club to be a part of. The Rasp Club. I mean, you got Leandria, you got
Yep.
certain ones where you
James
hear it.
Moore, he
Yeah,
had it.
yeah, yeah. You hear it, and it is something. I don't. You're right. It's hard to explain what that is. It's this feeling. A lot of the blues singers had it. You know what I mean? Who just,
Sam
and when you
Cooke had
hear
it.
them, yeah, Albert King and
Yep.
Bobby Womack.
Bobby
They just
Womack.
have,
Oh,
yeah, they have it, and I think that's what it is. They're doing things that you don't think they should be able to do with the rasp. I think that's what
See,
it is.
see,
yeah.
that's
It's
the exact same thing
right.
they said about Leonard and the
Right.
Leonardettes.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, I
Yeah,
tell you, but
It's
we would have worked it all
right. Right.
through. Yes.
It's fascinating because I was in Detroit at the last Young Artists for Christ, and we
hmm
were taking Yolanda Adams to the airport, and I was talking to her and telling her how much I hate my voice. She
hmm
said, "Boy, don't you know that that is the soul?" She said, "Don't you know
man,
people want that sound?" She said, "Johnny Gill has it, KC
yes,
has it." She started naming people, and the light bulb went off like, "Ding!"
yeah,
There's a purpose for it, and it's called soul.
yes, it is.
Cause dude,
Sam
when
Sam
you
had
came
it.
out, when you came
Yeah,
out, it was
yeah. Sam
crazy.
Sam had that rasp. He was a true tenor, but he had the rasp, and you can feel it. Soul is soul exists because of our, as black folk, our past.
Hmm. Experience.
It is the experience, it is the pain, it is the joy, it is a conversation. As a matter of fact, I have a recording of Sam in the studio. He's producing the Womack brothers, and it's just a clip, and it's him talking to them in the booth, and his speaking voice, his affectation is the same as the singing. In other words, um, you know who Cynthia Erivo is?
I heard the
Yes.
name. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay,
Wicked.
so she's the British singer from
Wicked.
who she did the Wicked. She's the Alphabet
With
in
the
Wicked.
ball
Go ahead.
head.
Yes.
Oh, she's
Exactly.
amazing. Jesus
So her voice
Christ.
her voice is crazy. It's crazy. But I have a problem because she played she played Aretha Franklin in a movie, not the Hollywood movie,
Right. I
but in
remember.
another
Hmm.
series. She played Aretha Franklin, and I had a problem with that because Hollywood screws it up so much, especially when it comes to
The black
black
stuff.
artists in church. Hollywood gets it wrong every time, and they cast her as Aretha Franklin. And Cynthia, if you ever see this, I love you. I love you as a singer. I just felt like, because if Cynthia's, listen to me, if Cynthia's conversation isn't like Aretha's
I
singing,
agree.
then you can't duplicate the singing.
No.
It's
Right.
so is the conversation. It's so if I'm talking to you and I go, so look here, man. So what I'm trying to tell you is that's my speaking. I sing the same way. So Sam spoke that way. He sang that way. And it was hard for her to try to, beautiful voice, but it's hard for her to try to capture. I
Aretha.
know my parents love me. Aretha preached that song.
Yes.
Stand behind me, come with me. Yeah, she preached and she went CL on that song.
Right.
That's what she does, right? So soul is a conversation of the soul. It's my pains, my joys.
And I thought it should have been Ann Nesby
Mm.
because when she
Yeah.
talks, you
Yep.
feel a Rita esque
Yes. And
type of thing.
there's another young lady out there, and hopefully her name will come to me, but she's spot on, Aretha. As a matter
Denitra
of fact,
Denitra Champ
absolutely,
Yeah.
from Los Angeles. From Los
absolutely.
Angeles used to be on
She
JDI
is
Records.
spot on, Aretha. I remember her on Oprah Winfrey years ago. I
Yep.
think she was on
Yeah.
Oprah show years ago.
Yep.
She is spot on, and unfortunately, they don't cast that way. I don't know why, but anyway, I just felt like she would have been perfect. But yeah,
Yeah. One of the things that what we're noticing in the industry, that the movie industry especially, they actually are spending a lot of time on people's social media and to see how many people you have following, and they're casting based on how popular you are on social media because they
mm,
think it'll turn
yeah,
into sales. Man,
yeah,
we are fastly running out of time, so I want to talk about your new music
yeah.
that you have. What can we expect from you next, and how can people connect with you?
Well, let's start backwards. You can always connect with me on TikTok Instagram, Facebook. Instagram is Marcus Cole Soul. My TikTok is the same, and Facebook is the same. So you can connect there. New music. I titled it New Music. I wrote the song a few years ago,
Well, hold on.
and
We have a
I
problem with
titled.
the title,
Why? Tell them why.
because I was trying to find it,
Right.
and all I saw was new music. I'm like, well, I know it's new music, but what's the name of the
Because we
song?
have categories.
You know,
We have
and,
categories
and
in
it
our
kept on saying new
rotation.
music, and so I had to go back and I said,
We had to
well,
listen.
they say new music. I said, well, what's the title of the song? So
Right.
I'm going on
Right.
social media and everything.
Yeah.
I finally found it where it said Marcus Code new music. I said, okay, that is the title.
Right. Right.
That's the title. That's exactly what I wanted to do because I had been hearing so many people, even to this day, who are like, "Man, when you release it?" Because I mean, "Write My Song" is 2006.
Who? You wrote that?
I would have, Robert. I'd have never thought that it would have taken me 20 years to do another situation, but I was like 2006. People was like, "Well, you gonna release something else?" And listen, it's not easy. And for some people, it may be. I don't know, but for me, it just wasn't easy to just get stuff together, the money to mix, master,
Right.
and
It's a
then
lot.
how do I get it out without industry, without label? It's
Right.
just so crazy, and so that's my pursuit now. So listen, just so people know, you can't get new music, the title, the song, new music on any other streaming platform. I did that on purpose. Only on Patreon, Marcus Cole Soul on Patreon, because I've researched this for
Hmm.
years that and we already know what streaming does. Spotify releases 120,000 singles a day.
Jeez.
A day, Robert.
Jeez.
How in the world do you get your music heard when that much music volume is being released a day? And I realized that I have to use this platform for social media
Yeah.
to get my music out there
Yeah.
and to direct the traffic direct to consumer
Directly.
so that people can just go come to me. I'd rather 100 people buy my song than to try to wait for what is the number? 250,000 people to stream it just so I can make $1,000?
It's not worth it. And
No.
you have a very distinguished voice, and you write like nobody tomorrow. That's
Thank
why
you.
I saw the Sam Cooke behind you, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was gonna hit it before you hit it because
yeah,
he was a lyricist.
absolutely.
I just watched not an unsung, but I've been studying him.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's been happening lately, but I've been
Mm,
studying his voice and how he
hmm.
maneuvers his notes and stuff. And so
Yes.
it's just crazy how you I can hear his influence on
Yeah.
you. I can hear Donny Hathaway on you,
Yes.
and it's all wrapped in one. And that Pentecostal, because we Kojic born.
All
It's
day.
just something about that spice in that Kojic
Yes.
denomination. I don't care what nobody say. It ain't
Yes.
the only denomination, but it is one of the most amazing musical. Look at the secular artists
Absolutely.
that were born and raised. So
Yes.
this music has to have influenced people.
Absolutely. Yeah. The writers that I listen to are all top notch writers. Often tell people this. I don't listen to anything mediocre or average. That's not a self-aggrandizing statement. I listen to top-notch writers, those who are intellectual, those who paint a picture. My first genre of music that I listen to is country. That's
Oh,
my first genre of
wonderful! They're
music.
lyricists.
My father raised me on country music. He raised me on Sam, all that stuff. And so I listen to writers who evoke emotion, who paint pictures. Because when I sit down to write, I want to come from that same place, not go to. I
Hmm.
want to come from that same place.
Hmm.
When I write, I want to paint pictures. I want to use metaphors, euphemisms, things like that that'll really reach people. And so I only listen to like really top notch writers and producers. I've been on this producing trek for a long time, just really trying to prove myself, to be quite honest, because I admire so many dope producers that I'm just trying to find my space and produce what I hear and that it's comparable to whatever else is out there.
So what can be done for your fans to know to be able to get to your new stuff
Yeah.
and because you said you're not doing the other
No.
streams, which I think is great because people have a falsehood about that. It's a myth.
Yes.
You
Yes.
just in the
And,
spinning wheel.
yeah, and they want to find it. And they like, cause somebody just asked me. I put up another post because listen, I want to say this. for those who are doing music, if on social media, if you don't engage in visuals, you're literally missing the whole thing. You have to, if you release a single, you need to have at least 10 visuals that comes before and after you release that single. Get on people's nerves. Keep putting out visuals to it. I don't care if it's a lyric video.
Right.
I don't care if it's just you sitting in a chair singing it and put a filter up. Whatever it is, keep releasing visuals. So the music that I'm going to be releasing, some music I am going to put on streaming platforms, some music, but most of my music you'll only find on Patreon, Marcus Coast Soul, or my website, and I'll let you know what that is when that's established. But right now it's through Patreon, and you just and you join up for free. I mean, there's a paid tier where
Wow.
you'll get inside things. I'm about to
Exclusive.
do a behind the scenes, as a matter of fact, with because I just finished a song with David Chance from Rough Ends.
Mhm.
The
Well,
legendary
well,
Rough Ends.
yes, David Chance of Rough Ends. And listen, all I got to say is y'all definitely want to get this. It's called "Feel Better," and this is a song I wrote years ago. And so me and Dave, we just finally knocked it out. And so, but anyway, that's how you'll get my music. And like I say, it's a free tier and it's a paid tier to
Mhm.
come on and get some behind the scenes stuff and get some covers. I just did a cover with Leon Timbo of the Winans Goodness, Mercy, and Grace that I
What?
put up on my Patreon. I'm
Mhm.
doing a cover with Doobie Powell
Ooh,
of the Soul Steers.
Yeah.
I'm a pilgrim. I'm doing a cover of that. I'm putting
Jesus.
that up there. I just did a cover of Stevie Wonder's "Love's Anita Love." I'm putting that up. You see what I'm saying? So this is I found my spot. Like,
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
This is it right here. And that's not even to mention the FK&M, the me, Fred, Keith,
I
and
was going to ask
Marcus.
you what's up with
Yeah.
that.
Listen to me. There's a second album that's coming out. We're about to go to radio with "Don't Quit." I wrote "Don't Quit" about 3 years ago, and there's a whole nother story behind that. We don't have time for it. But the second installment of Time Capsule is about to come out in probably a month. That's six, I think, seven more songs.
Mhm.
Robert, do what you got to do to get us on your show. I'm fighting for you on this end. Like,
Is
yo,
it
you got to
Ebony?
do
Ebony Funderburg?
Ebony
Oh,
Funderburg.
she's our friend.
Here we go. So we'll come on. The second installment is crazier than the first one.
Now, now,
Trust what I tell you.
now
It's crazy.
I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm just gonna encourage you. Don't come out with the song. You in the shower and the title would close the door. Don't do it. Don't do it. I close the doors. I close the door.
Right.
Listen. My wife won't allow that to happen.
Right, right,
But
right.
and
So,
my kids are definitely no. That'll never happen.
do you have
But
some upcoming engagements where you're going to be across the country? You and the group or you?
um, not. I just came back from Tampa doing a Good Friday situation, but we Fred is doing something in the summer. I don't know if I can talk about it totally. When we can, by the time we get on your show, I think we'll be able to talk about it.
Okay.
But Fred is doing something this summer that's really big that involves a lot of people from Detroit, and Keith and I are going to be a part of that. So that's going to be huge,
Wow.
huge. So yeah. So by the time we get on, we sit down with you, we'll
Okay.
talk
What
about it.
about Commission's movie? What's the update? Because you guys have there's a movie coming out.
The last thing I heard was, yeah, that they had switched writers again, and they were, I don't know, they're casting, but that's been the conversation for at least the last 5 years, 4 years.
Well,
So yeah, as far as I know, they're still doing it.
so my last question to you is that would you and your wife be willing to do an interview together?
Absolutely,
Okay. All right.
absolutely, yeah.
Very, very good. Let's talk about this new. Let's introduce this new song and let us play it for the people.
Yes, sir. So this is new music. You'll understand it when you listen to it. They just want new music, but I have nothing to prove music. It's love and truth music. So play this new music, and in the verses you'll understand where my inspiration came from.
A true lyricist. A true lyricist.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard from none other than Marcus Cole. You know his music, you
Yes.
know his sound. Here is the new song. It's called New Music right here on GOD Radio 1.
.com.